10 bizarre facts about what surgery was like in ancient Egypt. Hey guys, welcome to our channel Historical Clarification, and in today's video we're going to see 10 bizarre facts about what surgery was like in ancient Egypt. You'll be amazed to see what they did. From creating surgical instruments to ointments of herbs for burns. But before we take this fascinating journey into Egyptian history, don't forget to scroll down and subscribe so you don't miss any intriguing and curious videos that we post every week. The ancient Egyptians were one of the first great civilizations on the planet. A fundamentally well-structured society, the Egyptians had a sophisticated agricultural economy, a highly organized government, and adequate law enforcement that created a sense of stability in their daily lives, and which fueled research and documented it. Through trial and error, the ancient Egyptians were able to discover medical treatments that were far ahead of their time, many of which are still employed to this day. With the use of some of the oldest surgical tools in the world, ancient Egyptian medical practices were able to treat a wide variety of topical illnesses, putting them ahead of the curve among other civilizations of their time. This list that we will present to you explores what surgery and medicine were like in ancient Egypt, of which there are several records due to the customs of meticulous documentation. Number 1. Dental surgery was painful and ineffective. The diet of the average ancient Egyptian was not exactly conducive to a great set of teeth. Tools used to grind food often left traces of sand and stone, which are naturally abrasive, and this often meant the loss of young teeth. The ancient Egyptians used some remedies for dental disease, but they were rather bizarre and painful. For example, according to the Ebers Papyrus, the treatment for toothache was to rub a mixture of onion, cumin powder, and frankincense on a tooth. There are cases in which the ancient Egyptians filled cavities with a mixture of resin and a greenish mineral that contained copper and drilled jaws to drain fluid abscesses, but interestingly, the tooth extraction process was almost never used, remembering the risk of cases of infection. Number 2. The ancient Egyptians may have created male circumcision. Some historians speculate that the ancient Egyptians may have created the act of male circumcision. Others believe that the Hebrews are the precursors of circumcision. Although it is not decided about the origins definitive of the practice, it is known that the Egyptians shared their knowledge of circumcision with other cultures, as the Greek historian Herodotus wrote in the mid-5th century BCE. They are the only ones in the world, at least they, and those who learned to practice with them, who use circumcision. The Egyptians practiced circumcision for the sake of cleanliness, considering that it is better to be clean than attractive. The ancient Egyptians appear to have performed circumcision in a man's pre-adolescent phase rather than in childhood, leading some to believe that it was a ritual to commemorate the transition from childhood to adulthood. The practice does not appear to have denoted social class or status, as not all kings, preserved through mummification, appear to be circumcised. An important observation: anesthesia did not exist at the time. Number 3. The first surgeries recorded in history were performed by a doctor. Although they were ahead of the curve in technology, ancient Egypt also had its progressive achievements in civil rights. Being the first of many, within the framework of medicine, it should come as no surprise that the first recorded case of a female doctor occurred in ancient Egypt. Merita, 2700 before Christ, is the first female doctor known in history. She likely had the title chief physician, which meant she had authority to teach, supervised male colleagues, and personally attended to the monarch of the day. Number 4. They were the first to create a prosthesis, evidenced by a wooden toe. Ancient Egypt really is a culture of the first. It is very likely that the world's first prosthetics were used in ancient Egypt. A female mummy discovered near Luxor, Egypt, her death dating from 950 to 710 before Christ, was discovered with a prosthetic finger made of wood and leather. While the idea of a replacement for a severed finger is an impressive innovation, researchers at the University of Manchester suggest it may have actually helped the woman walk. The prosthetic toe showed significant signs of wear, which led researchers at the university to conduct a study that tested their participants' gait with and without the aid of the replicated toe. What was discovered was that walking in ancient Egypt in sandals, which were the common footwear of the time, would have been incredibly difficult without a big toe and prosthetics, similar to those found in the Luxor mummy, greatly helped the afflicted. Number 5. They created surgical instruments that are still used today. Ancient Egyptian society made one of the considerable innovations, including effective surgical tools to aid in medical treatment. Made primarily from the newly discovered metal copper, the ancient Egyptians had versions of tongs, forceps, spoons, saws, hooks, and knives, all of which can be found in medical facilities today. They also made excellent bandages and took the precaution of infusing them with willow leaves to treat inflammation, a practice incredibly ahead of its time. Number 6. Knowledge about the functions of the main organs. Although invasive surgery was an extremely rare practice in ancient Egypt, doctors actually had a pretty solid understanding of internal organs and how they worked. The Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest preserved documents on medical practice, illustrates the thinking about the functioning of vital organs at the time. While some of the theories are a little off, there are some that are impressively right. Some of the quotes adapted into modern language from the document. The heart. From the heart there are vessels for all 4 limbs, for all parts of the body. The respiratory system. When we breathe in through the nose, air enters our hearts and lungs and then throughout the belly. The liver. The liver is supplied with fluid and air through 4 vessels. When they fill the liver with excess blood, they cause many diseases. And, of course, the anus. The liquid and air that leave the anus come from 4 vessels. The anus is also exposed to all the vessels that exist in the arms and legs when they are overflowing with waste. Number 7. Postmortem dissection was common, but little was learned from it. The ancient Egyptians are known for their sophisticated mummification process, which led them to understand how they functioned as a society and how they viewed public health. The mummification procedure is an incredibly invasive one, involving a complete dissection to remove moisture from the body, including removing brain tissue through the nostril via a gruesome hooked instrument, and as such, the priests performing the sacred act were able to see the internal organs of human beings up close. Interestingly, the knowledge gained from mummification was hardly put to any medical use. A possible strong explanation for this is that the priests and doctors of the time simply did not operate in the same circles. That is, they did not work together, so communication simply did not exist. It was considered a strange oversight for a civilization that practiced such thorough documentation. Number 8. Medical procedures performed 3,300 before Christ. Always gifted, the ancient Egyptians already practiced medicine in 3,300 before Christ. Largely through trial and error, they began treating battle wounds, snake bites, scorpion stings, and other topical illnesses, putting them ahead of other civilizations of the same era. Although the average life expectancy at the time was about 34 years in ancient Egypt, you would be much better off in a society that was able to heal burns and broken bones than one in which such injuries were considered a death sentence. Number 9. They used science and the supernatural to treat injuries. Although the ancient Egyptians used many legitimate medicine and medical methods, the main method of treatment still relied heavily on magic. Since they believed that all illnesses had supernatural causes, healing logically also depended on the supernatural, so medical treatment often came with a spell to aid recovery. An example of this would be medicine for whooping cough. Medical treatment would consist of roasted and toasted mouse mixed with milk, followed by the magical aid of a lullaby that scared away evil spirits. It is believed that the documented effectiveness of these rituals is likely due to a powerful placebo effect. Number 10. They knew how to treat broken bones. With the use of wooden splints and sheets, They had a working knowledge of how to set broken bones and correct dislocations. They also knew how to sew wounds and make effective herbal ointments to heal burns. Invasive surgery was something that simply wasn't done in ancient Egypt. The lack of anesthesia and antiseptic made this essentially impossible, as it would have resulted in excruciating pain and almost certain death from infection. However, the ancient Egyptians were quite adept at topical remedies. So, what did you think of today's video? Did you already know these bizarre ways of performing surgery in ancient Egypt? Do you think a lot of the craziness from that time has changed to today? Let us know your thoughts on this topic, as we would love to read and respond to your comments below. And don't forget to help our channel by subscribing and clicking the bell to receive all notifications. And if you want to enjoy it and learn a little more, be sure to click on one of these videos that we are suggesting for you. Until the next video.